5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to the hottest sounds in the mix. In the mix.
Hey, peace and elevation. It's your brother Mike X. Welcome to another episode of the Wake Up Project podcast. Just ran into the studio, so my adrenaline is pumping. So, let's get started. Before we start the show, or as we lead up to starting the show, I just want to give some shout outs. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the eternal spirit of truth that some call God. The eternal spirit of truth that some call God. The truth is the pathway, that has brought everything that we see, everything around us. We see the truth expressed, through our bodies, through this chair that I'm sitting in, through this microphone that I'm talking through. This is the truth. And what gets man in trouble is a lot of man has fallen out of his most positive relationship with the truth. As a matter of fact, some men have tried to keep other men and women, people, from developing their most positive relationship with the truth, starting with the truth related to their physical body temple, starting with the truth of how to properly care for and maintain and nourish their thoughts and their mind and their intellect, how to apply truth to your emotional balance and harmony, how to connect to the truth spiritually and have a growing relationship with the truth so that you can become more and more in tune with the truth. And through coming more and more in tune with the truth, you can become liberated from any finite expression, small expression of your life that will keep you in shackles, that will keep you in any box that someone else might want to keep you in. As you relate yourself to the truth, you gain the power, the spiritual power to elevate, to ascend past those constraints. Damn, brother Mike, you starting off deep. Yeah, man. I believe in the truth. I believe in the Most High. I believe in that energy that has been in and around not only my life, but in and around all of our lives. That even in the midst of the chaos and confusion, the bigotry and the prejudice that a lot of us are so focused on is the truth. And if we will begin to turn away from participating in the ignorance, in the chaos, in the confusion, in the prejudice, in the hatred, if we will turn away from participating in those lower emotions, in those lower thought and emotion vibrations, and begin to turn to the truth, to seek the truth, we will begin to gain the ability to heal ourselves as individuals. And we will begin to gain the ability to be light bringers, light workers in our communities, in our families, in our neighborhoods. We will gain the ability to become little gods and goddesses, to overflow, to cultivate love, to cultivate compassion in our lives, and then to overflow those higher qualities of existence into our relationships, our romantic relationships with our significant others, our relationships with our children, our relationships with our parents, with our brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces and uncles and cousins and grandparents and others, we will gain the ability to overflow love, compassion, empathy into our relationships with our co-workers, and even to overflow love and compassion, empathy into the lives of others from other racial, ethnic, cultural persuasions, when we stop participating in the lower vibrations of hatred, of bigotry, of prejudice, jealousy, envy, wrath. And I know everybody's not down for that. I know everybody's not down for that. But you know what? I don't need everybody to be down with that for me to be down with it. See, because this is about freedom. This is not about slavery. This is not about tyranny. When you start dealing with love, compassion, empathy, truth. As I strive for more and more truth in my life, I gain more and more freedom to live my life, to think about my life, to plan and strategize my life the way I want it to be. And I'm going to keep on fighting. I'm not letting myself get caught up in anybody's narrow-minded, constrained box of what they think I'm supposed to be doing. See, because some of us, they want to so-called liberate our people from the constraints of the system of white supremacy and oppression. They want to liberate them from that, but they want to control how the liberation goes. So I'm going to liberate you from that, from subjecting yourself to that box, to enslaving you to my box, constraining yourself or existing within the box that I am creating through a particular cultural, political manifestation under my control or under our control, the clique that I belong to. And nobody should subject themselves to that type of tyranny, whether it be from the system of white supremacy, and which has worked so hard to produce a black inferiority, a people of color inferiority. You shouldn't submit to that, and you also shouldn't submit to the box that some have created for you to join on to, instead of submitting to that box. So some would call themselves, what are some of the boxes? Some of the boxes might be, Christianity, Islam. Some of the boxes might be black nationalism or a black nationalist type of group. I know I'm starting off, but this was kind of heavy on my heart as I started off tonight. I told you about a story of Sister Jean Reynolds last week. Sister Jean Reynolds was my big sis. Beautiful, beautiful spirit, soul. Black woman through and through to the core, who loved black people. And she was a follower of Malcolm X. And I told you the story, for those of you who were here, how after a speech that Malcolm gave, she ran up to the stage getting ready to pledge herself to Malcolm, to his charisma, to his leadership, pledge herself to him. And how Malcolm cut her off and said, "Sister, you don't be for me or nobody else. You be for the truth and what's right." He didn't want Sister Jean to be a slave to his charisma, to his leadership, to his thought process. He wanted Sister Jean to have a relationship with the truth, to have a relationship with her own personal freedom, to grow in that truth, and to live her life and pursue her life to the best of her ability through seeking the truth. And that's what this is all about, family. That's what this Wake Up Project is all about. I'm not calling you here at week after week after week to bow down to Brother Mike and how I think and what I believe, even though I have confidence in what I believe and how I'm looking at things. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to get over the shyness that everybody keep talking about that they have that stops them from calling in. Because I deal with shyness too. I deal with nervous butterflies too before every show. But because I believe in the truth, I believe in the eternal spirit of truth that some call God, that has blessed me with a discernment, with a message, with something to say that I believe will help, I get over that shyness. You know what I mean? So yeah, this show is first and foremost dedicated to the eternal spirit of truth that some call God. And truth is the great unifier. It's not about the symbolism as the rituals, as much as it's about that symbolism, and those rituals are supposed to lead you towards the truth that's inherent in whatever spiritual, cultural custom that it is that you're saying that you're practicing. It's not about the cliquism, the clannish, it's not about that as much as it is about calling you to be and become the highest expression of who you can be in that moment, in your relationship with the highest level of truth that you can discern in that moment. And to never, ever stop seeking higher expressions of the truth, because the moment that you do, you start to backslide. You start to limit yourself and who and what you can become and how helpful you can be, not only to yourself, but to others. The moment you begin to disconnect yourself from that eternal spirit of truth that some call God. You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And the more truth you know, the freer you will become. You should seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. As long as you are alive, you should be seeking higher consciousness. And you should seek it, and you should seek consciousness of whatever it is that's tugging at your heart, that's tugging at your thought process. And I don't want to tell you, I don't want to direct that. You know what I mean? Because your mission is what your mission is. My mission is what my mission is. And I'm doing the best job that I can to live up to my mission. And my mission at this moment is to remind you and to encourage you to know that you have a mission. If you are alive, if you continue to wake up, that's evidence that you have a mission. You still have a reason for being here. And what that reason is, that's for you to figure out. The only thing I can do is encourage you to continue to press, to try to figure out what that mission is. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what it is. I know that we all have gifts. I know that we all have talents, but I don't know what your talents are. I don't know what your gifts are. So it would be wrong for me to try to control your thought process. Yo, you just wait. Let me tell you what you need to be doing next. No, I'm not qualified to do that. I'm qualified to seek my gifts and seek my talents and to strive day after day to get better and more refined in the expression of those gifts and talents. And hopefully through me doing that, that will encourage you to seek the gifts and talents that you have that are desperately needed in this day and time. So, yeah, family. Welcome to the Wake Up Project with your brother Mike X. The calling numbers are 718-705-4959 or 914-969-6499. Give me a brief second. To find and pull up the live feed. What you need to be doing next? Cool. I see y'all. Y'all, I got love for you, family. Happy born day, brother Keith. Happy born day, man. I see Sister Danette. I see Elizabeth. Wow. We haven't interacted in a while. I see my brother, Brother Paul. I see Sister Bren. Yo, thank you for coming through, family. I see some others, but it's not showing me exactly who's in that group. It's in green. I see Sister Bren again. I see Brother Sharif. And we just gonna keep going. Family, please call in. Call in. And this is a love fest right here. You know what I mean? Because it's love that's gonna heal us from the pain, from the suffering, from the trauma that has been visited upon us. It's love that's going to help us to heal. And it's self-love. You know, it's learning how to love ourselves and practice a higher relationship of love with ourselves. To break our addictions, our submission to anything in our lives that's destroying us or keeping us in a cycle of self-destruction. It's time to begin to let those things go and to begin to latch on to the truth in every moment. And we got to encourage each other to do that. We have to become what me and Sister Jessica, who's been calling in, great, powerful sister of mine from Chicago, we were talking about becoming accountability partners to each other. And not just accountability partners as far as working out, you know, dieting, you know, and working out. But accountability partners as far as striving to reconnect ourselves to the higher levels of humanity, the higher levels of existence that are open to us as children of the Most High. Accountability partners to say that, yo, no matter how long we might not speak to each other, please know and rest assured that your brother is not going to give up on this mission. I've been striving to live up to this for almost 30 years. Getting a little emotional right now, hoping that I don't get overcome by emotion. But I've been fighting for my people for almost 30 years. And whatever time left I got on this planet, I'm going to continue to fight. To strive to do my part. To strive to pick up from where some of those who we claim we love, like the Malcolms, the Martins, the Sojourner Truths, the Fannie Lou Hamers, we claim that we love them. How are we following up on what they offered us? I'm going to continue to do my part, family. And I'm looking for accountability partners who will strive to do their part, to get into the driver's seat of your life. There's some people that I do. We already, before we even started. Oh, we got a call? Okay. Let's kick it off.
Hey, bro. It's Jessica.
Hey. What up, sis?
Hey, what's going on?
Peace and elevation to you, sis.
Yeah, so, I heard you mention my name, and I was like, I wonder if I'm going to be able to get in. But, when you were speaking about the accountability partners and aligning yourself with someone that keeps you accountable, I'll just say, like, for me, what that looks like, is on a spiritual level, before we can get out here and really be effective in a community, like, you got to make sure that you're living your best life. And I'm not talking about, like, you making all your moves as far as, I want to be a millionaire, I want to drive this car, I want to have this house. I'm not talking about that. That's material stuff, and material things, they pass. But one thing that's always going to remain with you is your spirit, your soul. And that right there is what we have to take care of that. We have to really take care of ourselves, because I know, like you and I have said, we discussed many times, I know you yourself and some of my other friends that's been out here and been, like, very, just very influential in the black community, in our community. We're trying to make a difference and being on the front line, just trying to empower our people. It takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you. It took a lot out of them. And some of them never recovered. And many of them I know have given up, thinking that, our people were not going to make it. It's a lost cause. And they just felt like they invested so much and didn't see any return. But the importance of having an accountability partner is because while you're out there pouring into the community and doing the show and working with the youth in the foster care system and things like that, it's very important that you have someone that keeps you aligned to make sure that they can pull your coattail and say, okay, look, bro, but where are you with this? How are you feeling? You got to check in with somebody. As I stated last week, a lot of times those that's on the front lines, they don't have time to be emotional. They don't have time to really breathe. It's because it's something always happening in community. It's nonstop. And so that's why you got to have somebody that knows you and knows when to check in with you to make sure that you're doing okay. But going back to the spiritual aspect of us is that the key is that when you begin to detox from all the negativity and the things that you've been through in life, and the traumas that you've experienced that's now playing a role in how you perceive life, how you're interacting with people. A lot of times we don't really pay close attention, but a lot of our, the experiences that we have and have had, it really plays an important role in how we interact with others now. And some of our perspectives and our mindsets are jaded. No judgment to nobody, but they're jaded. I even deal with it myself, And so, with that being said, you got to have somebody that can work with you, that's willing to walk this journey with you, because it's a lifelong journey. Not everybody going to come in your life is going to be with you all the way, but they have God, the Spirit allows people to come in and pour into you. And so it's very important on the spiritual aspect that we do that work. You got to do the work. If you want to see any type of productivity in your life, if you want to see any type of growth, it starts with yourself. And once you start to clean yourself up, then your light begins to illuminate. Right now, some of us got so much toxicity within that our light can't even gleam the way that it needs to. So somebody that's looking for the light can come to you, because your stuff is not really illuminating the way that it needs to. But I guarantee you, once you start doing the work, take that first step, do the work for yourself, and you start cleaning yourself up, eating healthy, thinking healthy, living healthy, I'm telling you, you're going to start to see a difference in your life, and then that's when you can begin to manifest the things that you want out of life.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's it, bro.
All right. Well, sis, we just starting the show. I know I started the show off on fire. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And that's cool. That's dope. we're going to get into the show. I want you to, hang out for as long as you can, but I got to open up the lines.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's a call right now. So please call back in,
Okay.
sis.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to be here with you.
All right. Peace. Peace and elevation. Please let me know who's calling, where you calling from, and what's on your mind this evening.
This is Dana Chavis. I'm calling from New York City, New York. How are you?
Hey. Peace, my sister. Thank you for calling in. And thank you not just for calling in, but thank you for being an accountability partner, just through what you do, who you are and what you do, and how diligent you are in doing that. We don't speak that often,
Right.
but seeing you helps me to stay encouraged. So thank you for calling in, sis.
Well, one of the reasons that I'm calling is to say I really appreciate the work that you've been doing. And from the caller that called in, she said many, many excellent, positive things. So there's a lot of people around you who are listening. Maybe they don't call in or chime in all the time, but the people around you, oh my goodness. I just want to say, continue to share. I saw one of your posts the other day, and like you said, we don't really talk a lot. We like share stuff every now and then on Facebook. But I saw one of your posts, and it just really struck me some things about you, that this is a person that you are continually growing, continually striving to grow. And as you grow, you share. It's like everything you get, you share. You impart to the people. And there's a wealth of truth and genuineness and sincerity in it. And I want to say to you that you cannot help but grow and bring forth a harvest, whether you intend it or not. Because I hear you loud and clearly. When you speak, you're letting the people know, don't look at me, but search from within you. Find God, the creator, the spirit, the source of truth, and link with that, grow with that, walk in that, which is a beautiful thing. And I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but when I first heard from you, your testimony you were given was of a person who had lived a life in error, who recognized the error of their way and how they had turned from it. That right there is what caught my attention concerning you. The genuineness and the sincerity of it. Seeing a man, a black man, who had the capacity to say, I was messed up in the way that I was thinking, and I recognized it. Who totally did a 360-degree turn, and then I sat on the side and I watched you grow and grow and grow and grow. And God bless you, from my heart to yours. You are really touching people. Maybe you don't see it, maybe you don't feel it, but that light that you're walking with, it cannot be hidden. And when it goes forth, it accomplishes the thing that is intended. So that's what I call to say to you tonight. Keep on keeping on.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you, sis. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, sis. Right. Do you have anything that you want to share with us about your work?
Well, I'm still pushing on, seeking nationwide action against police brutality and murder. That is work that I've been doing for several years now, following the loss of my own son at the hands of police. And like many parents, I wanted to know why or how this could happen. But in my particular case, I didn't seek an answer from men. You know, I went to a place in my spirit, a place in God that I didn't know was there. You know, my appeal, you know, was to God to know and understand. And he didn't tell me, but he showed me, you know, more than I asked, you know, and the accumulation of those things is what led me to understand that not only do we need nationwide action in this country, not only is there an issue, particularly with people of color, that God wants to address, but that we as a people, excuse me, worldwide, we have to get ourselves right with God. We are not in our right mind. And that is not of our own doing. It has a lot to do with slavery, the things that happened during, the things that are still occurring today. But even aside from that, you know, we are not in our right mind because we are other than ourselves as God intended, because God intended for us to be like him. He intended for us to walk with a certain power, a certain authority,
That's
and
right.
we lack it. Okay, we lack it.
That's
and we
right.
can only find it when we reconnect with that source of life.
That's right.
You know, so what I'm doing, excuse me, and pushing for nationwide action, people look at it and say, oh, it's just a petition. What's a petition going to do? Nothing. You know, the power, you know, is with the people. We've said that for years and years, but come to find out, we don't really believe it. But we have to go deeper than the power is with the people. The power is with the source, and that source resides within us, but we have to seek and find it out. When you walk in that truth and you walk in that knowledge, there's no such thing as being in bondage. There's no such thing as another man telling you what you can and cannot have, what you will and will not do. Okay, but because we are separate and apart from that understanding concerning us and don't recognize ourselves as the gods that God intended us to be, we're in bondage, we're enslaved. And we will not have that reconnect until we connect to the source of all creation. That's the way out. But for me to get up on a pedestal and tell people, seek God, they ain't trying to hear that, because the very concept and idea of God has been perverted. Okay, so that people don't want to hear nothing about God in no shape, form, or fashion. Okay, so anyway, I'm pushing for nationwide action that is seeking police accountability across the United States, because this government needs to be called out on its claim concerning liberty and justice for all. Now, we know that's not true when it pertains to people of color, but the audacity of them to promote that, to insist that, to go overseas and terrorize other countries, proclaiming it gives them liberties and freedoms, when you have your own people in bondage here in this country, just begs to be challenged. And the lies concerning it and the lies concerning who we are as a people need to be exposed. So
right.
Nationwide action, it has a whole lot of stuff going on with it. But the main thing has to deal with the murder of our people, the thousands who have been wrongfully incarcerated. Because when you open up that box, you cannot help but find yourself addressing a host of other issues pertaining to us. Because when you look at it and you examine it, it's all relative. It's all related. And there is, like I said, a long-standing issue with blacks in this country and what this government has done to us that have gone unaddressed. And God intends to address it. It will be addressed. It will be dealt with.
And I would just say, and I thank you for that, sis. I want to open up the lines, but I thank you for coming through. I'm a passionate brother. I lead from the heart. And a lot of us don't want to lead from the heart. A lot of us lead from the ego. A lot of us lead from pride, but I lead from the heart. So you just helped your brother to break down, you and Sister Jess. I wasn't planning to get emotional tonight, but They say that tears sometimes cleanse the soul, you know. So I thank you.
Well, I'm glad. I need you to know that you are seen, you are felt, and that's not your intention, but the heart. You know, I don't know. I don't think I can't be the only one that feels that, you know, and sense that. Maybe it's something God showed me. I don't know, but I don't believe I'm the only one. But I can tell you the genuineness and sincerity within you, it comes across loud and clear. And please keep that. Keep that. You know, people need it. You know, people need it. As you look around today, you know, even with people who tell the God honest truth, excuse me, sometimes sincerity can be questioned. But when you can feel the genuineness and sincerity of a person, it goes a really, really long way. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of people who are out here teaching and preaching, you know, and maybe that's just not their gift or their calling. Some people are called to be staunch, to be a warrior. Some people are called, they have a nurturing thing with them. It depends on the individual. You know, work with what's been given to you.
That's right.
But I can tell you, brother, you know, you're blessed. You know, continue on. You are making an impact. You are making a difference. You are being felt.
Thank
okay?
you, sis.
Good night.
Good night, sis. That's a call? All right. All right. Peace and elevation, family. The calling number is 718-705-4959 or 914-969-6499. I say peace and elevation to everyone who's coming in, striving to figure out how to do this Facebook Live thing so they don't let me comment, right, on everybody's comments. But somebody was schooling your brother saying, well, you're supposed to, seeing what people are saying, you're supposed to read what they say or shout them out. So, you know, I'm learning how to do this thing. You know, so I see Shamika, I see Vita, I see Sister Nura, Sister Diane. I definitely appreciate everyone. Brother Ramon, peace, 7. Sister Pamela, Ella, my brother Curtis Wise, Sister Shelley, and if Brother Sidney, thank you for coming through, family. So what we talking about tonight is, all right, I'm looking at a page from the last show. Yeah, we talking about us, you know, family. We talking about doing what we need to do. Self-development precedes community empowerment. What habits and methods of living must we adopt as individuals to heal and prepare to do the same within our families and neighborhoods? The change that we want to see, the community empowerment that we want to see, it starts with us as individuals coming out of agreement with our enslavement, with our oppression, with participating in habits of self-defeat, of self-destruction, coming out of alignment with those things and beginning to do the things that we need to do again to heal this body temple, to heal our thought process, to reconnect with the divine nature that we were created within, like Sister Danette was just talking about. Have not you heard that you are all gods, children of the Most High God? This is where we got to get back to. This is where we got to get back to. But to do that, we have to come out of agreement with believing that we are nothing but niggas and itches with the B. You know, thugs and criminals. That's not who we are. That's who we've been tricked into believing that we are, but that's not who we are. They've disconnected us from our higher selves. From being able to learn and grow and empower our decision making, our power of choice. To be and become more than what we've been previously. We're more than just criminals and thugs. And we're also more than just ball players. Yeah, I know game 2 is on tonight. We're more than just singers and dancers, man. But you know what? It's not good enough for me to just tell you that. I know I have to show you that. And as imperfectly as I may be doing that, that's what I'm striving to do. I'm striving to show you that we're more than that. By striving to remake myself into more than that. It's time for us to begin to unlearn and relearn. To grow and stretch beyond previous levels and boundaries of comfort. When we live our lives through the flesh, it's all about comfort and doing what's comfortable and maintaining. You know, we ain't striving to rise to no occasion through the flesh. It's only when we begin to climb up into the higher levels of consciousness that we begin to take on transformation. Pace and elevation. Who's calling, please? Let me know who's calling, where you calling from, and what's on your mind this evening.
Peace, Brother Mike X. This is Ella.
Hey.
Calling from Brooklyn.
Planet Brooklyn. What up,
Peace.
sis? Peace.
Yes, I'm in my home tonight trying to get up enough energy to make the night, put children to bed and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you told us what we're talking about tonight, I feel like health is something that we have to get in tune with ourselves, to have a clearer mind so that we can actually be aware of the other things that we need to get together with us and ourselves. We have no idea how clouded our minds are when it comes to the things that we've learned and the things that we've learned, and the food that we've eaten, the things that we've ingested in so many ways that has clouded our minds. We have no idea of how far we can go when we just have a clear mind. If you just sit by yourself and you really, just listen to the things that are going on in your head, it will blow your mind if you've never thought about it, if you've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea the thoughts that are going through your head, the things that don't even make sense that's in your head, let alone the thoughts that you have about your life and about what life is really about on a daily basis that you've never thought about, why you celebrate certain holidays and why you eat foods that you eat and why you think things have to be a certain way. You only think it because you've been taught it. So you never actually listened to yourself and chose thoughts for yourself. Most of us have not done that. So, and as far as health is concerned, the things that we take into our bodies, the things that we eat, you can add to the cloudiness of our mindset, and we can't even think clearly, even if we want to. I can speak for myself when I started eating better, when I started eating more living foods, more, natural foods, my mind, I started thinking about things that I never thought about before. I learned a lot in just changing the way that I ate. And right now, I'm kind of going through a anemic thing, and I've had it, and a lot of people suffer from it, especially women. A lot of Black women suffer from iron deficiency, anemia, and what that does is it makes you, weak and tired and things like that, to where you can have a good night's sleep and wake up in the morning and still feel burnt out. And sometimes I can't do the things that would make me a better person because I'm so tired. So I can't, do the write when I want to write, or read when I want to read, because it's like, no, I can't put that energy into it because I'm tired. So what can we do if we're not at our optimum health as Black people, to the point where we don't have the energy to do the things that we want to do to make ourselves better, or we don't have the clear mindset to come up with new ideas and to actually carry them out with the energy, because we're not treating our bodies right, or we're not taking care of ourselves, or we're not eating, properly. And like I said, ingesting whatever it is, ingesting information. Like, we can make ourselves sick with constantly exposing ourselves to negative news, to negative energy, to negative conversations. We can make ourselves sick just by that. So health is a big deal when it comes to us being better people, better individuals, and definitely in a community.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Definitely, sis. Thank you for calling in, and we about due for a check-in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we about due for a check-in. I appreciate your energy. The people who come through to the Wake Up Project, they miss your presence, and we hope to see you back sitting next to me soon. You know what I mean? But in the meantime,
I will.
In the meantime, I do look at you as another one of my accountability partners, and I know, what first attracted me to seeking out, connecting with you, is seeing you practice self-love, practice joy, practice, just confidence, to the point where sometimes, carefree on the verge of being silly in some moments. You know what I mean? And that attracted me, to saying, I need to reach out, to my sister, because she's giving herself permission to connect with her higher self, in truth, in love, in peace, in serenity, in harmony, in the midst of chaos. She's not letting the outside dictate who and what she can be. She's determining who and what she can be from the inside. And that's the power that we all have. And I thank you for being that accountability partner, who I know is on her job, even if I haven't spoken to you, or we haven't spoken in however long. I know that you're on your job, and I appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for reaching out and connecting with me, and keeping me on my toes. So I just have to, do what I have to do to continue to be here and be an example, and just, be a light as you are. Definitely, as a sister said, I caught that.
All right, sis. Well, call back in if you feel the spirit too, and I'm gonna respond to some of the things that you just brought up.
Okay. All right. I'll be listening.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace, sis. I want to shout out my brother, my Edenwald brother, Edenwald Projects, third largest project development in New York City, located in the Northeast Bronx. Brother George. Shout out to Sister LP, another accountability partner. Sister Nura, another accountability partner. Peace to the 7, to the God, original man. Peace, family. Brother Nev. Shamika, peace to Brother RJ. Brother RJ is another accountability partner who is, he does what I've been doing, you know, what I've been striving to do. Maybe not from the same vibration, but Brother RJ is an author, he's a teacher, he's an activist. He founded a school, Harlem Liberation School, located in Harlem, New York. Harlem Liberation School is a group that meets at least once a month to give Black/African people the opportunity to come together to build relationships with one another. First and foremost, to build a positive relationship with ourselves, because that's where our true power resides, within, in ourselves. To gain a cultural, political, social, economic understanding of where we're at as a Black/African people and what we need to be doing for ourselves to regain the most positive expression of our humanity, of our godliness. So Brother RJ is another accountability partner that I know is on the job even when we don't speak. I see you, brother, and I thank you for doing what you're doing. Sister Diane, Sheldon, I thank everyone for coming through. And we gonna make it. We gonna do what we gotta do, family. So, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna show you a video that I shot a few years ago. I shot Big Doobs. I'm looking. Peace, family. We need to catch up. Keep pushing, keep striving. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a video that I shot a few years ago. This video I shot the day after they refused to indict the officer, Darren Wilson, I believe was his name. It's been a little while since I connected with that. There's been so many murders. There's been so many of us being killed and officers being caught dead to rights on film and on camera. And a lot of us, some of us who know our history, some of us who go all the way back, you know, generations to murders, you know, where police officers and others have gotten off with the murder. Some of us already know why a lot of times we're not getting the type of justice that some of the newer ones amongst us who are just waking up are getting, you know, sidelined by, you know. But anyway, I shot this video a few years ago. I want to play the video. And I think it's about 12 minutes, this video. And then we're going to continue with the show. And I think that this video will help us to understand what we have to do ourselves to begin to disconnect ourselves from being disempowered, easy to disrespect, easy to disregard, easy to be taken advantage of. What we ourselves must do within our lives as individuals to begin with, and then working in concert with one another, how we can begin to regain our self-respect, our dignity, to where it will become harder for people to take us for granted anymore. So we're going to go to the video right now. During the video, we're not going to take any calls, but as soon as we come back from the video, we're going to take more calls. So let's go to the video. Peace and blessings, family. You know, today is November 25th, the morning after the decision, the verdict was rendered, you know, not to indict the officer, Darren Wilson, you know, for the death of Mike Brown out there in Ferguson, Missouri.
And, you know, I just wanted to take the time to, you know, send some energy, some positive energy, out into the black and brown neighborhoods, you know, not only out there in Ferguson, Missouri, but also in other parts of the country that are under the same conditions that those, you know, who are living in Ferguson, Missouri are under. You know, politics that don't serve us, you know, business community that's, you know, just about making money and, you know, not necessarily concerned with the wherewithal of the people who put that money into businesses. You know, parents and adults, you know, who have, for various reasons, lost the cohesiveness that we need to be able to exhibit, to be able to supply our young people with the security and protection and room for growth and empowerment, you know, that they need. I just wanted to say, you know, there are some of us, you know, and I take no pleasure in saying it, but it's true. I didn't expect, you know, an indictment to be brought back, you know, in favor of justice, you know. You know, I still remember, you know, Trayvon. I still remember Sean Bell. I still remember Amadou Diallo. I still remember so many others, you know. So I wasn't, you know, I would have been more surprised and shocked, you know, if an indictment was actually brought back. And the reason for that is because, you know, I live my life in a way where I'm conscious, I'm aware, you know, of what my position is as a black man in the society and what black men are subject to, you know, what black women are subject to, what black children are subject to. You know, I understand that, you know, this is a society that has no particular positive plan, you know, for our people. You know, and because I carry that consciousness and that awareness, you know, I never get, you know, I never get swayed, I never get tricked, or I never get lulled to sleep into believing that today is a new day, disconnected from what yesterday was. You know, I believe that we're not going to see real justice in this country until we learn how to unite and organize ourselves so that we can begin to empower ourselves, you know, politically, economically, and socially. You know, our communities are wide open. They are wide open for anyone who feels like it to take advantage of us. And that goes for the outsiders, you know, the police and other entities that want to, you know, the other races and other ethnicities that want to set up businesses in our community and sell us inferior goods and services and overcharge us. You know, our community is wide open to them, and our community is also wide open to those of us who, you know, for various reasons, play the role of bloodsuckers and parasites and are not, you know, in the practice of striving to get their minds right and to cultivate and refine their character, you know what I mean, and their principles and their standards and their cultural outlook, so that they can be beneficial, you know, to the community that they live in, you know. So our community is wide open for attacks from without, and our community is also wide open from attacks from within. And there has to be at some point an effort, a greater effort to bring some type of justice, you know, to bring some type of empowerment, you know, to these communities that is based upon our unity, where, you know, positive majorities, you know, of our people are able to become self-determining, you know, to become independent and autonomous, where we, you know, live within this American system the same way other ethnicities live within this American system, and they do well within this American system based upon their unity and their organization. Nobody else in this country is put in the position of being dependent and having to protest and burn things down the way our community is, you know. And when you see things like that, you got to understand that's helplessness right there. That's helplessness. When you have to resort to destroying your own neighborhood, that means that you have not learned how to come together to utilize other means to get things done on your behalf. You know, where you can call, thousands of people together to stand together socially. Not in a reactive way because one of your own was killed, but because you've built the type of bonds that was necessary, for you to become a respected people in the society. It comes about through numbers, coming together, standing with one another, strong, united, organized, for a common interest. And what common interest? Survival. You know what I mean? The right to exist, the right to perpetuate our lineage, the right to perpetuate, our human rights in this world, as a people, and once we're able to come together socially, then we can begin to feed that power into politics and make politics work for us better. Then we can begin to feed that power into, economics and business. And it won't be about us having to boycott anyone. You know what I mean? Boycotting is also reactive. We reactive, and boycotting can only work but so long if there are no businesses created by us that we can feed our dollars into. So I'm just saying, family, to those of you, who have practiced consciousness, whether it's, black nationalism, whether you down with the Nation of Gods and Earths, whether you down with, the Moorish Science Temple or the Nation of Islam, or you just a brother or sister. I'm not necessarily down with any of those groups, but I'm about truth, and I'm about, studying and learning from those who went before us so that I can be responsible for myself, as a black man, as a black woman. Yo, keep the faith, family. Keep the faith and keep on living your life to the best of your ability. Be the best example that you can be as an individual. And don't fall prey to despair. Don't fall prey to despair. Just practice, what you've already been practicing. Because you, like me, if you had some type of consciousness, some type of awareness, you didn't expect any indictment. Either. You knew that, we are not practicing the type of empowerment in our neighborhoods that would compel, people outside of us to have more respect for us. So you didn't expect an indictment. You know what I mean? So, yo, family, just keep on practicing what you're practicing. Remain strong, remain dignified. And what I would ask you to do, if anything, is to talk to the babies, Talk to the babies. Don't get caught up in the fact that, the powers that be seem like, they're setting up and they're, like they're closing in for the kill. And yeah, I agree with you. That's what it seems like. And don't get caught up in the fact that so many of our peers in our neighborhoods, other parents and other adults seem to only be concerned about, love and hip hop Hollywood, or, or Scandal, or, whatever the latest, reality show is. Don't get so caught up in them not being on point. You just make sure that you remain on point, and as long as you remain on point, and as long as you practice a strong physical uplift, a strong mental, uplift and spiritual uplift, as long as you continue to practice that, there is hope. There is hope. You know what I mean? I don't care what's going on outside of me. That's not necessarily true. I do. But I'm not going to let what's going on outside of me deter me from continuing to do the job that I know I'm supposed to be doing. And that's to be a strong, dignified, mentally uplifted and spiritually grounded black man in this society, with a responsibility to feed the babies, to go after our youth, and to strive to open up their minds to what they need to be doing, in their own lives, so that they don't fall prey to the same, craziness that some of their parents and adults and others, who came before them fell prey to. You know what I mean? I thank God that he positioned me to, be someone who works with young people, and has been working with young people for decades now. I pray to God, I thank God that he has given me, a spiritual discernment, you know what I mean? A desire and a thirst for truth. I thank God that he made me a studious brother, who's always studying, who's always striving to learn. You know what I mean? Not from one subject, but from all subjects. You know, I'm wide open, open-minded, you know, to truth. And I thank God that he's given me the ability to speak, you know, with clarity, you know, not to strive to impress anyone, you know, not to strive to dazzle someone because I speak so well, but speak with clarity, to make it plain, to break it down to where the baby can understand what I'm saying. This is what the young people need. They need for you to teach them, you know, not from some type of scholarly, you know, I'm at the college podium level, but nah, break it down, make it plain, like Brother Malcolm used to say, so that they can understand what they need to be doing, you know, at 11, at 8, at 9, you know, at 10, at 11, at 12, you know, 13, 15, 14. What do I need to be doing to make sure that as I become older, you know, and society begins to expect things from me, you know, that I'm prepared to be able to stand up and be who I need to be for myself. You know what I mean? So, you know, family, I didn't mean to speak this long, but I just wanted to say, family, you know, keep the faith, you know, keep searching, you know, keep on digging, you know, keep on laying claim to those jewels, you know, of truth, and bring them home and present them, you know, to the babies who need these things the most, you know. So having said that, peace and blessings.
Peace, peace, family. Welcome back. You know, reconnecting to what Sister Ella was talking about, you know, we all find ourselves a lot of times too tired to do some of the things that we want to do. A lot of us, we know that we need a new relationship of love and respect and appreciation with our physical bodies, with our body temples. A lot of us have hopes and dreams, personal projects that we've wanted to get up off the ground. A lot of us know that we need to break free from misery loves company types of cliques. A lot of us are in the wrong professional fields, man, because we were tricked into this mindset of go to school, get an education so you could get a good job, instead of following your dreams, striving to be the boss, striving to create your own empire, your own corporation. So a lot of us find ourselves putting all of our energy, misplacing all of our energy in ways that other people benefit from, that we don't directly benefit from. So when it comes time to us, for us to nurture ourselves, we don't have it to give. But there's this saying that when you don't feel like it, that's when you really supposed to fight to do whatever it is that you know you got to do. That's when you really got to push hard, because if you're waiting to feel like it, you might never feel like it. Or God knows how much time will pass before you truly feel like going out and walking those laps, you know, or jogging or whatever it is, you know. So you got to fight. And this is where that love comes in. One of the reasons why the black community is tore up the way it is, one of the reasons why a lot of our lives are not what we would like it to be, is because we haven't been practicing a healthy relationship of self-love with ourselves. We haven't been doing that. We haven't been finding value in our own lives. The value that we find in our own lives that we begin to practice is going to overflow again, like I said earlier, into the relationships that we have. The relationships with our family, the relationships with our neighbors, the relationship that we have with the society at large, with the neighborhood. when we begin to have practice that self-love, not only are we going to take ownership over our own lives and the relationships that we have with other people, but we're going to take ownership over the community, the neighborhoods, the communities that we're living in. When you don't have that healthy respect, then you say things like, yo, life is an itch and then you die. You know, you don't care what you put in your body. Yeah, the Surgeon General warns, man, that cigarettes cause cancer, but yo, you got to die from something. I'm not really enjoying my life anyway, so yo, pass me a bogey. You know what I mean? Let me go get high. Let me go get drunk. Yeah, I know that alcohol. I forgot what the Surgeon General has on the liquor bottles and the alcohol bottles, man. I forgot what he's saying on that. You know what I mean? But we already know, a lot of us, man, that alcohol, man, shrivels up our liver and our kidneys. But when you don't love yourself, when you don't feel good about the life that you're living, you don't place value in it, and you open yourself up to doing any old self-destructive habit or norm. But when we begin to realize and recognize that we are great, when we begin to do the knowledge and commit ourselves towards being great, to loving self, to healing self, to getting into ascending from walking around bitter and angry all the time, to finding that joy like I was talking about with Sister Ella, to where you can rebuild and repair relationships that have previously been destroyed. When you begin to practice that type of self-love and you begin to overflow it into the lives of those that you have an influence over and with, that's when we begin to start to take ownership over the neighborhoods that we're living in. And that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. And we got to start growing above and beyond, again, the bonds or the boundaries of looking at ourselves as just a worker class. And we got to start looking at ourselves again through the eyes of those who committed themselves to the Black Wall Street Project or to the Independence Day Project, like my brother Carlton Jones. Not just living our lives ignorantly, closed-mindedly, apathetically, submitting to mediocrity, submitting to the power and influence that other people are exerting over our day-to-day lives. Now we start to see ourselves as greater than that. And when you begin to feed on the truth, when you begin to set positive goals for yourself, and you begin to discipline yourself and commit yourself to those goals, and you start seeing yourself improving, your body healing, you losing weight, you getting a little muscular, that muscular stature, you start learning that you have the ability to strategize and to choose a better life, and you start doing so. And your emotional disposition begins to grow from just being down and out and bitter and suffering and mad, you know, to where you feel that peace, you feel that joy. That's when you begin to know that your life has value and you begin to treat it as such. That's what we have to begin to do. That's what we have to begin to show our young people in particular. Getting back to last week's show when we were talking about what do parents and adults, what do we need to do to reassert our positive presence in these neighborhoods? It's not just what we say to the young people, man. It's what we show them. We got to start showing them that we have power, that we have creative control over our lives, that education is indeed your passport to the future. as Brother Malcolm used to say. Not just by what you're showing them, but what are we doing? And that gets back to us unlearning and relearning. Relearning to live our lives on a higher vibration. And that's what I'm hoping we can get to the point where we begin to take ownership, man, of the technology that we have at our disposal, the job market. Everything's changing around us, man. And we got to begin to learn how to change with it. I'm committing myself to stretch as far as this show is concerned. My strength is where I'm talking to you from. But I know in order to really put a firm foundation to what I've been about for so long, I got to tear myself out of spending so much time working for other people, and I got to free myself up. And I'm working to do that. I was looking at a video today. This is not, it was talking about the gig economy. Family, we got to learn some of these new technologies. We got to start to not just create products and services, but we got to figure out how to get these services and these products to each other. We have to be accountable to one another. I send videos and different things to selected members of people that I know. We do the Wake Up Project. We do some of these things to inspire those amongst you to find your gifts so that you can show up and help us to balance out our communities, the efforts that are being made on our own behalf. I'm asking you to see yourself in a higher light, in a higher conception than what you have so far. It's not about me, it's about us. Each one of us recognizing that we have a gift, that we have a talent, that we have something to offer of benefit. It's not about me hating on you. I'm not afraid of you finding your positive path. I encourage you to do so. Okay? I'm looking at the wrong notes. So, I want to say something that connects back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. What gives my life meaning is not just, what I read, what I study. It's not a particular stance that I take. Even though I am I'm into a certain amount of symbolism myself. I wear a lot of red, black, and green. The red, black, and green is connected to the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey and his Universal Negro Improvement Association. The red, black, and green was the flag, red symbolizing the blood that has been shed and spilt. The black representing the people, the green representing the land. But what makes me a positive black man is not the fact that I wear those colors. It's the life that's being lived. That's what makes me or makes someone else that is committed. That's what makes it, and what I do with that life and how I share that life. Or if you're a Christian, the fact that you show up in church on Sunday and you sing some hymns and you might drink the grape juice and take a bite of the cracker, that's not what makes your life valuable, but how you share your life from that consciousness. That's what makes your life valuable. And we need more people to commit themselves to fighting, to tear themselves out of just living, you know, in the corner. This group is over here, that group is over there, that group is over there. Disconnecting ourselves from one another, keeping ourselves easy prey for others to take advantage of us. It has to end. The number again is 718-705-4959 or 914-969-6499. We must take ownership of our lives, our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual faculties as a human being, as a child, an expression of the Most High, of the truth. We got to work it out. We got to get it done. The time that you need to take to recommit yourself to living your best life, to healing yourself, to taking positive ownership over your body, your mind, your emotions. No excuses. You got to get it done. Or continue to live in the box that you've been living in. You got to get it done. The reading that you need to do, the videos that you need to watch, the steps that you need to take. You got to get it done. And where do you find the time to do these things? You got to let go of some of the other things that you have been making time for. You can't have it both ways. You want to find money to invest in a particular project or an opportunity. Damn, where am I going to find this money from? I don't have any extra money coming in. Assess how you're spending the money that you got. If the peace and elevation. Welcome to the Wake Up Project. Let us know where you calling from and what's on your mind tonight. But hold, give me 1 second though. I want to finish that thought.
Okay.
The money. If it's money that you don't believe that you have the money that you need to invest in yourself, assess what you're doing with the money that you have first, before you lock yourself into a paradigm where you're thinking that you don't have the money you need, so you stay stuck wherever you're stuck at. Assess how you're spending the money. You might have a sneaker habit, right? Where you spending up, your money on making sure you got the latest Jordans, man, every time a new pair of Jordans drop. The money that you need for the project that's going to enrich your life and give you new opportunity, if you continue to strive to hold down getting every new fresh pair of Jordans and you want to start your business, you might not be able to do both at the same time. So maybe you need to stop spending all your money on Jordans. Or we can come up with other examples where sometimes we are misspending our money. And believe me, I'm not judging you, because I got more pairs of footwear in my closet, man, than I need. You know what I mean? So in me saying that to you, I'm saying it to myself. But we'll get back to that. I apologize, family. Please tell us who's calling.
Hi, I'm Sister Vita.
Alrighty.
And
peace, Sister Vita.
You touched on two things.
From the Bronx.
First was the health one, and this latest one about materialism.
Yes.
With the health thing, I personally, went through a serious health issue in February, and I had to go to the hospital, be hospitalized for a few. And they told me I had congested heart failure.
In February?
Yeah.
This February?
Yes.
Oh, I'm mad at you now, right?
So, well, don't be. I was just, in a lost place because I couldn't believe it. So I decided to, talk to a few people about this. What should I do about my health, blah, 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 blah. And somebody hit me to this video on Netflix. It's a health documentary, and it's called What the Health.
Yes.
And to make a, short synopsis, it's about a man who was like maybe mid to late 30s, and he said that his grandparents died early of diabetes. His parents also died early of heart attacks. So he decided to do some research. So to make a long story short, what he found out that there was collusion between the agricultural system, the meat industry, the Diabetes and Heart Association, the pharmaceutical industry, and the government. And it's all for profit and to keep sure they keep making patients, keep having patients to make the industry grow. So I started to try to be a vegan. And I've been struggling with it ever since February because it's hard and it's a lot of work. And then it's not as easily available, especially in our community. So you really have to go out of your way to find the products, to prepare the products and whatnot. So, diet is very important. And as the sister was saying earlier, how it helps your mind get clearer once you can eat better. I started juicing a lot. And even though I'm still trying this vegan thing, I'm still not totally into it. So I may sneak and get some chicken here and there and maybe some eggs. But, I never was a big meat eater. So the diet is killing us, and the diet is also affecting how we think and what we do, some worse than others, depending on your genetic makeup and really the trauma that is running through your family tree and your DNA, even from slavery. So there's a lot of hidden trauma. Like in nature, what is good for an animal is encoded in their DNA, and what is harmful to an animal is encoded in their DNA. And not surprisingly, but so with humans, what's good in your DNA, you retain, and what's bad, you retain. And to think that we went through 300 years of physical bondage, torture, rape, beatings, mutilation, everything that you can think of, and then after 300 years of this generationally going on, they opened the doors and said goodbye. And so there was no counseling, no therapy, no nothing. So we have a lot of this in us. And along with the systematic racism that's going on from the government, in housing, employment, education, so on. Yes, we have a lot of psychosis, but it can be changed. And like you said, it's about loving yourself and basically teaching the babies. I don't know how much of the older generations can change, but I hope it's enough to reach down and change the children. So basically, that's all I wanted to say at this point, because now I forgot some of the topics that you covered.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, sis, and thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to reach out to one another. I think that we need to do what we need to do within our own individual lives.
Right.
We shouldn't, place our lives on hold, striving to make other people join on to what we're striving to do, even if we know that this is what's best for them.
Correct.
Because what we do in the meantime, when we put outside people above ourselves, we give ourselves an even heavier weight to carry around. And I know I've definitely been there. There was one point in time, as an activist where, as someone who cared about his community, I tried to pick up the whole entire Northeast Bronx,
Yeah.
And what it did was, I was a very angry and bitter individual at that time.
Well, and it hurts. My goal too, or my wish, is that our people could wake up and we become once the great people that we were. But a lot of us, and you can say, therefore the grace of God goes I. And I figured those of us who so-called say we're surviving or we're functional in this environment, as opposed to our brothers and sisters that's really struggling or not functioning at all, I could say if we never went through this trauma, what would we, those of us who are kind of making it, and I don't mean making it big, but keeping, being sane, keeping yourself safe and having a decent life, where would we be if we didn't go through this trauma? And those that we say are really losing it or falling by the wayside, where would they be if they didn't have that trauma? They might be on the level that we are. So it's so many variables, and I still, I know you're tired of hearing me say it. I still say it goes back to history. We don't know who we are. We don't even know the illnesses we went through during those 300
But this is the thing with that, sis, and I gotta cut you, and I also,
okay.
We got like a half an hour left.
All right.
But this is what I want to say, and it's not that I'm tired of hearing that. It's that the reason why we started the Wake Up Project, why I started the Wake Up Project, and I talk about the need for us to elevate the discussion from, whining, griping, complaining about what was done, what they did to us, or ridiculing, judging, and shaming those who don't yet know what time it is.
Right.
Is that some of us who know, we have to begin to commit ourselves to showing the power of knowing. If we, because if we don't show the power to be gleaned from being conscious, from being aware, from knowing the truth, if we allow ourselves to remain in the same boat or even worse than those that don't, quote unquote, know, then what value, what value are we showing to those that don't know, that they, to prove to them that they need to know? So this is why some of us are going to have to begin to, who do know, we're going to have to show the value of knowing, and how to build the structures, to build the relationships, to do the things on a small level that we're advocating that other people need to join on to. We got to stop waiting for the system to change or for our people to wake up. Those of us who are in the middle, who already know what time it is, we have to begin to live empowered lives in front of those who we want to influence. So it's not just because if we don't do that, then we're going to stay stuck. We're going to stay stuck, and those who we want to save are going to be stuck behind us. And it's more so going to be our fault than theirs. So I'm with you. But when you say that we don't know, that's not a true statement.
Well,
I know why you say it.
Experience on this planet, and a lot of us don't know. I know my catalyst as a teenager. I grew up with a Caribbean background. We knew we were colored or Negro, as we were called during that time, but I didn't really think my family really had much pride in that. And it's not until me at 13 years old heard a man on the radio saying the black man is the original man that piqued my interest, and something hit inside of me. And because I've never heard anybody say that about black people. You got to remember, we're so bombarded with the negativity, and I'm talking more for our youth. We're so bombarded with the negativity, and especially during my time coming up, to hear somebody say that was like shocking, mind-blowing. And I'm just saying, maybe our people, for those who are struggling, would have more pride if they really knew who they were, not try to do anything else, or for those that do know, not to build and whatnot. But some of us need that inner proudness. Some of us know, because we're so bombarded with the negativity, it's hard to believe it, even though you might deep down inside feel that, I'm better than that. But if that's all you see around you, or that's all you're taught in the educational system, it's going to do something to your motivation. It's going to do something to your mind.
I got you, sis.
Okay.
On that, thank you.
All right. Peace.
Peace, sis. So let's answer that right quick. This is why it's so important for those of us who claim to know, to commit ourselves to working from that knowing, to be on the pro side instead of being on the anti side. Let's take the phone call, please. Please turn down whatever you're listening to the show on. Please turn it down so that we don't get the feedback. And welcome to the Wake Up Project. Please let us know who's calling, where you're calling
your
from.
Mama calling.
Hey, what's up?
Hello?
How you doing, Ma?
I'm good. I just heard the last caller. And for her and everybody else who has been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, I have been living with that since 1996. So it depends on your heart strength, and it depends on changes in your diet. If you eat anything salt is the basic thing that is so dangerous because it causes you to collect fluid. When I had my third heart failure, I went off the salt and lost like 30 pounds in a month. And it's still a battle. It's still having properly functioning kidneys and controlling your diabetes as best you can, but it is not a death sentence. But I will say one thing for women. We, for some reason, the doctors always, you go to the doctor and they have a certain set of classic symptoms. And usually the heart attack is that crushing pain or whatever. Women do not always feel pain. It could be something like indigestion, you filling up with gas and, different things. So the best advice I can say is learn your body. Learn what your body is saying to you. Because two people can have the same disease, but not everybody experiences it in the same way. So, and then there's also the emotional component. And I know you don't have all night, so I will just say good night and God bless.
Nah, hold on, Ma.
Okay. I'm here.
All right. Now, I want to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Not too heavily, but in a way where maybe me putting you on the spot, you can speak to, what I would like for us to get out of, this disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, and I appreciate, that you took the steps that you needed to take in order to be here for yourself first and foremost, but for me and my two brothers who wasn't ready to lose their mother. Now, can you speak a little bit to the struggle that you had to go through to learn the process that you spoke to a little bit, as far as letting go of things that brought you pleasure, food-wise, that was helping to exacerbate your health condition? Can you speak a little bit to how hard that was and the peace that you had to make with letting go some of these things in order for you to get past, putting yourself in that position to where you might not have been here?
Well, one thing is heart failure is a frightening thing. And I was diagnosed in 1996, but looking back, I had the symptoms for something like, I think 15 years before that. And they had actually several hospitalizations. We're checking you for congestive heart failure, but, you're too young for that. You're too young for that. They diagnosed me as having pneumonia one time, which is fluid in the lungs. And then later on, as the heart failure progressed and my heart grew weaker, I understood, yeah, it could have been pneumonia, but it could have been the heart failure. It was a struggle because both of you were home. You and your younger brother was at home. And at that time, my heart was so weak that they were asking me, did anybody in my family die in their 50s from heart trouble? Did you have rheumatic fever as a child and different things like that? And I was told to have a health care proxy.
Hold up, Ma. I'm sorry, Ma.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma.
Yeah.
Right? There were certain things that you were eating.
Yeah, I was a salt junkie.
Okay.
I was a salt junkie. Everything salt, salami, frankfurters, ham.
All right.
All that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's, not trying to blow you up, but there were things that, that we all have been, soul food, that they introduced to us, that some of us swear by today. Some of us are up in the Chinese food restaurants.
Oh, definitely.
Some of us are in the fast food restaurants, even though we know that we shouldn't be, because we're seeking comfort eating, but that comfort eating is not bringing comfort.
And although sodium is a component of salt, you can still have sodium without ingesting salt. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, accent, different things like that.
Okay.
And
now,
go ahead.
How hard was it, Ma?
It was very hard.
How hard was it to let go of that food? Because, the realization of knowing that you were, you had the comfort food, but the comfort food was putting you in a situation of ending up in the hospital.
Or worse, because
or worse.
Essentially heart failure is when you have so much fluid, it's an overload, your heart cannot pump all that fluid around, so the heart fails. And it's like you're drowning. Your lungs fill up with fluid, your own fluid. So it's not like they could take you out of the pool or the bathtub and pump your lungs and get that water out of you and you're going to be okay. No, this is your body. So you are essentially drowning in your own body fluids.
Yes.
I'm not going to stay on all night, but one of the hardest things for me was when I was advised to have a living will or a health care proxy, and I was told that if I needed to put a do not resuscitate order in my records, I would have to post that on the apartment door. And somehow I couldn't do that to you and your brother, having to have you and your brother coming in and out and seeing that on the door.
All right.
So do the knowledge, and it is not a death sentence. Dietary changes in as much as and the one benefit is that I cannot eat salami, franks, and bologna and things like that. I don't understand how I ate them. They are so salty now I cannot eat and enjoy them. So,
all right.
God bless and love you.
Love you too, Mom.
Okay, good night.
All right. I wasn't trying to put my mom on the spot too much, but I thought that it would be instructive to some of us who are still in the midst of striving to hold on to habits and practices that are self-defeating, self-destructive, versus letting go of those things, finding new value in our lives, seeking to be here in a healthier disposition, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Not just for ourselves, but for those who need us. I remember a time when I didn't think that my mom was going to be here. And I'm so very glad that my mom made the changes that she needed to make in her own personal life as far as food and eating habits that allowed her to get past some of those habits that were literally about to take her away from us, from me and my two brothers. And I know, thinking back on that time, if my mom would have left us at that time, we probably would have ended up in foster care or something like that, or in the group homes or something like that. And as someone who has worked, you know, with young people in group homes and foster care and you know, non-secure detention and places like that, and how easy it is for you to lose yourself in places like that. Not only would we have had to deal with her loss, but we would have, I don't know, we might not have made it through. So I say, for people who are struggling right now, who don't have the value, the love for self yet, to let go of eating and ingesting substances, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed or other drugs, or whether it's the other type of drugs pumped into the home, you know, into the meats, into the foods that we're eating, who don't yet have the same type of love and care and concern for yourself yet, to where there's nothing, you know, you don't believe that there's something higher for you to live for. So you have the mindset of, you got to die from something. I hope that hearing that type of testimony will give you encouragement. Those of you who have been connected to me through social media, you know, I disclosed last show that we had last Sunday. Yeah, I'm a diabetic survivor myself. And yeah, a lot of these things is hereditary. So my grandmother was a diabetic. My mom is a diabetic. I'm a diabetic. And I know for some of my spiritual people out there, you know, who will say that energy flows where your attention goes, or who say that words have power, I could already hear y'all saying to me, stop claiming that, Brother Mike. So let me answer that call that I kind of felt as I said that. I was a diabetic, right? Yo, we got to have a greater value for our lives. And there are people who are depending upon us. Some of them within our families, you know, our direct nuclear family, and some, you know, just out there that we haven't connected with yet, that need to see people overcoming. Brother George says, great topic. One cause of death in America is heart disease. I lost so many relatives to heart failure. Instead of meds, we need to teach our people how to live healthy lives. Oh, most definitely, family. Most definitely. So we got 11 minutes left. And I thank everyone who has called in. I see Roxanne. I see LP. I see Sister Vera. Sister LP. Thank you for coming through. There's a need, family. There's a need to place a limit on how much longer we talk about what has been done to us, or staying stuck in that. I think that sometimes we need to talk about what has been done to us to assess how we got to where we got. But by the same token, some of, those of us who have already been through the breaking from being subject to what was done to us, we have to begin to live in the peace and the joy of freedom, of access to the truth, of knowing that we can begin to change our lives for the better. It cannot be where we keep ourselves stuck and over and over and over and over and over again talking about where we've been. Because what that does is it keeps us stuck. And as we keep ourselves stuck, we keep others stuck that we could positively influence. Back in November, one of my childhood friends that grew up in the project development that I grew up in, I'm not going to say his name, he had an event at the local library outside of Edenwald Projects. And the event was to show a film. The name of the film is Elementary Genocide, I believe. I hope that's the name of it. It's by this good brother, Raheem Shabazz, I believe the brother's name is. And he did this documentary to talk about what some people know as the school to prison pipeline. How the schools are used by those in power to look at where, the population and where they are at educationally to begin to plan how many prisons are going to be needed moving forward. And this is a powerful documentary. I believe it's Elementary Genocide. Those who are on the live feed, please check that for me and let me know if I'm misquoting that. And I believe the brother's name is Raheem Shabazz. So brother had a gathering at the library, and about 20 people came together and met that day. And we broke bread and we shared ideas and we started a process. Some of us who was at the meeting, we knew each other. A lot of us who was at the meeting, we already knew somewhat of what was on in the documentary. Some of us didn't. But what was powerful about that gathering was that it was pregnant with the opportunity for us to build new relationships, new commitment on a local level. To not only, to come together, to break bread, to build a new, again, commitment to each other that moving forward, we can begin to get into a positive, we could get into positive actions and efforts moving forward. To not just come together to look at a video about, a bad circumstance, but we can begin to plan proactively for the months ahead. Kwanzaa was coming up. Black History Month was coming up. And life happens. I know life happens. I know sometimes, we intend to do things, but for whatever reason, other things get in the way. And this is why we have to be so supportive of one another. We can't leave it for just one person to be responsible for maintaining an effort like that, or even maintaining an effort like this, the Wake Up Project. And I was calling my brother and sending him messages like, yo, brother, what's up? I thought we was going to keep this video showing thing going so that we can build the relationships and love and trust amongst the people who's attending. Yeah, only 20 people attended that first joint. And Edenwald, the project development that It was right outside the library. Edenwald has over 2,041 apartments and up to probably 10,000 people who live there. And some would say, damn, you only got 20 people that came out and it's right outside of Edenwald. That's a mistaken way to look at it. As far as trying to positively impact a neighborhood. Instead of looking at all of the people who didn't come, you look at the people who did. Instead of being angry and upset in the presence of those 20 who took the time to come, and I'm not saying that this is what brother was doing. No, you show those people who came, the 20 who came, you show them love and appreciation for the fact that they took the time to come, and you work with them. And you make them feel so good about the fact that they came out that the next time you do it, instead of just having 20, you have 30. By the third meeting, you have 40 or you have 45, and then you branch out into forming committees and doing other things, branching out. For whatever reason, the event that we had in November, we never had another one. And I saw a brother recently and I asked him like, yo, brother, what happened to us continuing that effort? And brother he said, yo, man, it's not, I didn't want to just come together and complain and talk about, you show videos talking about, how messed up things are. And I said to brother, it wasn't necessarily the video which was so powerful. It was the 20 people who came, who for the first, started to talk about the need for us to get together more often. So this is where I'm coming from. Some of us who live in these neighborhoods where change needs to occur, the first thing that we need to do is we got to commit ourselves as individuals to root that change within our hearts, to root that change within our minds, and how we go about living our lives. We got to be beacons of light, beacons of hope. And we got to commit ourselves to standing in the gap. And then, as we do that, then we need to look for like-minded, like-spirited people to share that energy with. This is how change begins to happen. You don't, first and foremost, you don't need everyone to start a positive change or a positive project. First and foremost, you need the commitment of yourself. And through your consistency, other people will begin to build up trust and respect and appreciation for you and what you're doing. And some of them will want to join on. This is how the change that we want to see in these neighborhoods will come about. And it's not about, brother said he wound up telling me he wanted to do, we need to be thinking about economics. Yes, we do need to be thinking about economics. But for people who have been taught to hate each other and mistrust one another, you can't introduce the topic of money as the first topic. We don't love each other. We don't love ourselves enough to love each other enough, to start out from that vantage point. First and foremost, we need to start out by getting to know one another, building with one another, separating ourselves from the way we used to interact with one another. We don't need a blunt or an L or some weed for us to gather. That's a big improvement. It wasn't alcohol. It wasn't us going out to the bar that gave us the encouragement to get together. That was one of the things that was so dope about that gathering. The main topic of that gathering was us putting our heads together to figure out what are we going to do about this situation. That's a big improvement. So we're running out of time. We got like 10 seconds on the clock, and I'm not going to take the show too far past that as we close out. I want to say thank you to the family once again for striving to be who you're striving to be. As women, as men, as sisters, as brothers, members of the community, each one of you have given us something to grow from on the live feed, on the comment thread. I'm going to spend a little bit of time after the show striving to catch up with a lot of the comments. I appreciated everyone who joined on, who called in. I hope that you'll take the time to share this show, not just on your page, but share it with some of the friends on your friends list. These are the type of shows, I'm not saying that this was, these are the type of things that I think we need to be committed towards. When we say make this go viral or share this with everybody on your friends list. And I'm not saying that because it's my show, but I am saying it because this show was solution oriented. This show was focused on striving to encourage you to find new value in your life as a human being, as a child of the Most High. Encouragement, love, appreciation, and respect are qualities that we need to begin to reassociate ourselves with as individuals so that we can overflow those qualities into the relationships of those that we have connection with. Again, that's where the change is going to happen in our neighborhoods. And so having said that, I say peace and elevation to the family. And I hope to see you next week. And if you have any ideas of topics that you would like us to attack or to bring forward, definitely hit me in my inbox or share your comment on the comment thread. And having said that, I say good night. I say peace and elevation to the family. See you next week.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We jamming? Hell yeah, we jamming. In the